Hello and welcome to the Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast with me, clinical somatic educator and founder of Total Somatics, Heidi Hadley. The Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast has been designed to help you gain a deeper understanding to how your mind and body work. You will learn about your amazing mind and body and why over time you can feel pain, recurring injuries and poor posture. Within this podcast, I will teach you why this doesn't have to be your future or the norm for you. Would you like to learn how to reduce pain, move freely, and gain a new lease of life? Let's get started.
Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we get started, I'd just like to invite you, if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, to like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell. The reason is there's a large percentage of people that watch these videos that are not subscribed. And yet, if you were to subscribe, it really helps YouTube be able to reach out to so many more people that this information will benefit. So we're kind of having a bit of a community mindset to support others too. And also, just before we get started into the podcast, I'd love to invite you to a free summit that's happening very, very soon. It's going to be happening in February 2024, and it's the Menopause Summit. So there'll be experts from all around the world that will be talking in their areas of speciality about menopause and how we can use different things to support us before menopause, during, and after. Because many people think once you've gone through the menopause, that's it. But there's actually a lot of support that needs to be addressed afterwards. We'll be covering things such as neurodivergent women with menopause, all sorts of things. So please check that out. If you go to totalsomatics.com/menopause, leave your details there, and then when the event gets closer to the time, you will be invited in with the Zoom invitation or link. Also, when you go to totalsomatics.com/menopause, you will see the time zones and the dates for wherever you live in the world. This is a global community, so I want to make sure that we address everybody here. Okay, so let us get started with today's discussion. Now, online and also in clinic over the years, I get many questions, and one that's very common is people ask me, how does Total Somatics support leg length discrepancy? So when I'm referring to leg length discrepancy, I'm discussing how people are told that one leg is longer than the other. So you may be resonating with this, or you've heard that expression before. So many health professionals would say you've got one leg longer than the other. But want us to consider how leg length discrepancy, or that one leg longer than the other, starts to impact people. So for instance, if you have a leg length discrepancy, it's going to impact your movement. It's also going to affect your posture if you think that you're loading more weight through one side of your body compared to the other. Shock absorbency will be impacted. So you can imagine the discomfort people are going to feel in their hips and in their back. There'll be an increase of muscle tension, and also joint health is impacted here. And I often use the analogy of driving around in a car with the two wheels on one side flat. That's like having a leg length discrepancy. You keep driving around with one side with flat tires. What's it going to do? It's going to impact the suspension, the whole framework of your car. Now, we are far more intelligent and much more precious than a car. And so I'd like us to consider how we can address this issue of leg length discrepancy, because it's the same with our body. If we continue to wear out one side more than the other, we accelerate the age of our joints, we increase our inflammation levels, and it's just that ripple effect. And so let's pull it right back, and let's go back to that Total Somatics foundation, whereby we know that all movement starts from our center. And also all our stress responses or reflexes that I discuss in many previous podcasts start within the center, and then they ripple out. So it's no surprise then that from habitual behavior such as sitting at a desk and maybe slumping into your right hip as you use your right hand to work with your mouse, or it could be kicking a ball. If we play soccer or football and we kick the ball and we're very dominant through one side, that repetitive action will start to tighten one side. Likewise with golf, any of these repetitive actions. Also, carrying a child on one hip or children on one hip for a period of time, that changes the behavior and the level of tension within your muscles. And even though a lot of people have gone to standing at desks and working from home, but with stand-up desks, people are coming into my clinic and they're also speaking to me online and telling me how they're developing new postural bad habits, as it were, from standing desks. And that's often because they're loading more weight through one foot compared to the other. So it's starting to tilt and create a bit of a hip hitch. One hip is higher than the other. So hopefully that's starting to give you a clue as we start to unearth this subject. So before we go any further, if you have the opportunity to stand up while you're watching or listening to this podcast, I'd like us just to do a little exploration here. And as you stand up, if you've got your shoes off, if that's possible, could I get you just to check in and notice the weight transfer through your feet? Where do you feel you're loading most of your weight? Would you say it's evenly distributed? Or do you feel that it's more through your heels, more through the balls of your feet, maybe on the outsides or the insides of your feet? So notice where it is, but specifically for this episode today, I'd like you to notice, do you notice if there's a subtle shift of weight through just one foot more than the other? And if you do notice there's that shift in one foot more than the other, this is where this episode is just for you. But of course, all the other episodes, please check out, because if your weight transfer is unevenly distributed, we know there's levels of tension throughout your body. Because really, after we've done a somatic movement session, we notice that we have even distribution through our weight, through our feet, even weight transfer. So this is going to be applicable for everyone. So please continue to watch if you notice that your weight transfer is different. But if you do load through one foot more than the other, this is part of that leg length discrepancy, or one leg longer than the other. Because again, in different settings, you're going to be just told one leg is longer than the other. But I'd like us to actually unearth or unpack this very common phrase that's used, one leg longer than the other, or leg length discrepancy. Because factually, there's a very small percentage of people globally that have an anatomical difference in their bones with their legs, one leg longer than the other. The vast majority of people, it happens because of one-sided muscular tension and tightness. And so when there's tightness and tension, it starts to shift the weight transfer. It starts to move your skeleton. And what we start to unpack here, like I just gave you some little clues before, is that we want to look at the waist muscles and all around the center of your body, because that is where the tension builds up. And if we're addressing through the center of your body, so through your waist muscles, through your back, we will get to to address the root cause of your leg length discrepancy. And I must say, over the years, I've had so many wonderful comments globally when people have addressed their leg length discrepancy. For example, some people have said that they've found a greater range of movement. They've had greater power output in their muscles for their exercise. And that can be, say, cyclists. I get to see a lot of professional cyclists, and they see that when they actually release the tension through the center of their body, their pedal stroke improves significantly. Also, if you have back pain, this is again something we would address, is having a look at the tension in and around your waist and your back muscles. Because if you have one waist muscle that's tighter and gripping, that's going to tilt your pelvis. And if it's tilting your pelvis, it's affecting your sacroiliac joint, or your SI joint, or SIJ, all those different expressions that are used. And if you've ever suffered with any discomfort in your sacroiliac joint, you know how painful that is and how debilitating it can be. So if we can address the soft tissue or the muscles, we then can level out the pelvis, and that's going to reorientate the position of your SI joint. And of course, if you're in the Total Somatics membership, you know that I have specific somatic movements and panticulations for the SI joint, or the sacroiliac joint. So if you are in the Total Somatics membership, please go and have a look at those resources and those movements. That is really powerful for you. But also, as we move forward, I'd like us to consider what can we do? Because, of course, there are multiple benefits. You can look all around Total Somatics website and look at the examples of people that have found this work so powerful in changing their life, reducing their pain, improving their posture, increasing their mobility, and making them become more mindful of their behaviors and their practice. And for example, the little mini mindful session we just did a moment ago, checking in and noticing where the weight transfer is through your feet. If you're doing little practices like that throughout the day, then you're able to recalibrate throughout the day. And that is powerful for keeping overall health and well-being at its best level. So would you like to improve your hip health and your waist and your legs and back issues? Because if you do, I would love to share with you a digital course that I have, which will help with leg length discrepancy. Now, if you would love to be interested in this, you can invest in your current and your future health with an incredibly popular course. It's sold in over 35 countries around the world, and it's within the Total Somatics online shop. And the course is called Release Tight Hips and Back with Clinical Somatics. And it will take you through step by step of how to release tight hips and back. And when you start to do this, you will address all of those common areas that are causing you that leg length discrepancy, SI joint discrepancy and issues, back pain, and increasing shock absorbency. And then that's overall weight transfer, even weight transfer through your feet. So again, if you would love to access that digital course, go to totalsomatics.com and then click on the shop page. And when you get to the shop page, you will see it says Release Tight Hips and Back with Clinical Somatics. Do check it out. I can't tell you the amount of people that have said it's been a massive game changer for them. It's really accelerated their activities and what they want to do. Because remember, if your muscles are chronically tight, you're only using a portion of the potential of your muscles. So when you soften and release the muscles and improve muscle memory, you increase power output in the muscles. And that helps with overall performance, agility, strength, balance, coordination, everything. This is powerful work, and I'd love you to experience it firsthand. So again, that resource you can find, or that digital course, should I say, is at totalsomatics.com, and then click on the shop page. It's Release Tight Hips and Back with Clinical Somatics. So again, I will see you next time, but don't forget, if you want to join me and other experts from around the world, come to the Menopause Summit, which will be in February 2024. Go to totalsomatics.com/menopause. So there's lots of things for us to be getting the new year off with. So I will see you all very soon. All my love and my very best wishes. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.